Yeah, probably the cell phone or email. Other than that, we did get our ambulance 2 back. It was actually at Northwoods Ford for 9 days, having some work done. So we did get it back now, so that is nice to have it back. Hopefully we can get that back on the road and in service. But on a better note, we are gearing up for some summer activities. I believe I have 8 special events already in the book that people request us to be at. Safety town and parades and stuff like that already going on. And then on top of that, we're trying to start cleaning and purging and getting ready for the new public safety building. So we're staying busy down there on top of averaging 2 to 3 calls a day. Right now, just the one ambulance, so staying pretty busy. That's about it.
Thank you, Tiff.
Thank you.
Police Chief Vern, good evening.
Good evening. Just what's on the agenda?
Okay. Building official Mandy.
Good evening, just what is on the agenda.
City engineer Jim. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Just a couple exciting things, and you mentioned that it might be a change on the agenda, Mayor, but I just wanted to bring it forward so the public is aware of it. Hot off the press as of 4:30 this afternoon, we received kind of the schedule narrative from Adelson and Peterson, and it's on your desk in front of you, and it goes into quite a bit of detail on a number of things, but especially noteworthy is looking ahead to next week. They are looking at pouring the...
Thank you.
Am I not loud enough? That's unusual.
Well, you know, make sure people don't get to hear this, so.
If you look at the second paragraph, what's especially noteworthy and kind of brings a smile to your face with the progress that's being made is looking ahead for next week, they are looking at pouring all the concrete, which includes the aprons at the Sally Port and at the bays for the ambulance and for the fire department, the training pads and the extraction pads and so forth, as well as the pouring of the curb and gutter around the parking lot. And then the following week, they will be, weather permitting, and now we've got to pray for dry weather rather than wet weather, we'll have bituminous down with pavement markings before Memorial Day. So, and then there's a little more detail on kind of the details of finishing up different aspects of it on the interior. So, good news, and things are progressing very well. And hopefully we can get into new facilities, although we're all begging to get relocated to that, offices and those buildings. And so. The second item is just a reminder that next week is our public informational meeting on our 2024 potential mill and overlay projects of our streets and alleys. I realize the notice that appears in the paper and that is sent out to the abutting properties does not go into a lot of detail, but on the back of that notice was a map that kind of identifies, it's rather small scale, but it identifies those streets, those alleys, or those parking lots that are being considered for mill and overlay. It is not an infrastructure replacement project, but what I'm providing as information to those people is really what we have there is probably a 3 to 5 year capital improvement programs of potential street and alley repaving where the underlying utilities are in good shape. It's not on our schedule within the next 10 years to replace sewer or water. Mainly what we're doing is to try and prevent erosion primarily in the alleys and to give a better ride, better aesthetics on the streets. So the purpose of both the public informational meeting next week and then the public hearing in 2 weeks here before council is for those citizens, those neighborhoods to provide input back to the council and to the staff as to whether they favor having that work done in front of their house or behind their house in the alleys, because it is going to come back to the council to do the prioritization. Basically, like I said, we have over $1 million worth of projects. What's in this year's budget is about $200,000. So it is important for them to make their wishes known to the council, to the city staff, and then it's probably going to be into July before we'd actually be bidding the projects on those projects that come to the top of the list with probably the overlays, the bituminous overlays, probably going on in August and September. So with that, just a little more information to give the people a little more insight that we are not replacing complete streets, we're not replacing sewer, water, or services, but really just putting an overlay over the existing streets or over the existing alleys to, again, prevent erosion primarily in the alleys where we had reclaimed or rototilled those several years ago, where there's steep slopes causing erosion when we have major storm events, but also on the streets to provide a little more aesthetics and a little more rideability. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have at this point. Thank you.
Hey, Jim, I got a question.
Sure.
Have we talked to the county about reducing the speed in front of the new public safety building on that county road?
That has not been approached yet, Chad.
Okay.
If it's, because, is it 30 miles per hour or 40 miles per hour?
It's 50 right by the building.
It's 50.
there.
Is it 50?
Yeah.
Okay. Is something we should be looking at that point then, so.
Could you remind us of the date of the public hearing?
It's 2 weeks from tonight at 5 o'clock, right before your council meeting.
On the 22nd, okay.
Yes, and then the public informational is across the street at 5 o'clock next Wednesday night. So the next 2 Wednesday nights at 5 o'clock.
15th at the senior center?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Welcome everyone at home. Apologize, we had a little technical difficulty. It's all squared away now, so welcome and good evening. Public Works, Larry. Good evening.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Just a couple of quick updates. There's absolutely zero chance for a no mow May for us. We already mowed the front of City Hall once. So with all the rain, we'll probably be mowing maybe some of the areas south of the lake that maybe get the most sun end of the week or early next week with all the rain, and surely the cemetery too. So we'll be mowing, and then we start interviews this week into next week with Stephanie and Mandy on the water sewer utility position. So we're looking forward to that. Before your next council meeting, we will have, I think, 10 returning seasonal casual laborers. Appreciate that, and parents for getting those kids to get their applications in, because we know they didn't do it on their own. And we have 10 new ones, so like 10 and 10. So we're very excited about that, 21 total. So you're gonna have a good year. And the water plant filter rebuild project at the water plant that we've been working on for about 2 years is complete. And we're in compliance, and the health department and our consultant helped us out, and we did all the work ourselves, and we saved a bunch of money. And we know how to do it now, so.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Good job.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Barry.
How'd it go there?
City Parks Trails Rec Director, Bridget, good evening.
Good evening, no formal report.
Libraries, Rick. City Attorney, Brian, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. No formal report, but I am happy to field questions if the council has them.
We did have some people show up earlier about some blight issues. Any headway on the communication with Chief as far as finding different routes or avenues for the city to take, besides,
I've looked at a few. I've still got to sit down with the chief and kind of get through them, but I kind of indicated a little bit during the comments and public participation. I think utilizing some of the civil blight and the public nuisance laws may be beneficial. So,
thank you. City Administrator, Stephanie, good evening.
Good evening. I just want to let the council and public know the City of Chisholm is working towards our AARP age-friendly designation, and we are going to have the first meeting for that June 10th at 10 o'clock. So if anybody is interested, please let me know, and we can add you to that committee. It's a process. Georgia from ARDC will be here to help us through that process, so it's exciting. I know there's quite a few people interested in it, so just let us know at City Hall if you want to join that group. And then, like you've heard, we've been busy with the summer projects have started early, so 5th Street's on its way moving. There's a pay application in your packet today, public safety building, for what Jim had said, but then also all the flooring is done in there, so it's nice to see it all kind of come to life. And that will be moving forward. We're also moving forward on the transition with CTC. They will be changing out phones. They've already started that, and as you know, throughout the town, they're getting the fiber to the public safety building and then the other buildings within the city. So that has been moving along too.
Excellent. Thank you. Any questions for Stephanie? Moving on to consent agenda, which consists of the list of bills, communications, minutes of previous city council meeting, April 24th, 2024, payroll, and overtime. Unless there's any corrections, I would look for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Jed.
Support.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to new business. Chief, good evening.
Thank you, good evening, Mayor and Council. First of all, I want to apologize that there was an add-on to this first item. Communication error, I believe, and so I didn't get that over till today, but it's a letter explaining what they want to do in changes. They took the precautions of making it so we can go back to clamping down if we need to, so I don't think it'd be a problem to give it a try this year. So what we're looking for is a motion to approve their temporary liquor license and declare a citywide festival for the fairgrounds for the length of the fair for this year.
Okay. Didn't we do something like that last year, as far as like a walk around?
So we discussed it, and first they discussed it with, when it was the all class, and just being that we were so spread thin, we didn't really want to try it with the all class going on. And then it took them 2 years to decide whether they should do it or not. There was some back and forth between the people that served the alcohol and the fairgrounds, or the committee board, and hashing out whether they were going to do it or not. So it was brought up, we talked about it here, but they never came forward with it. They weren't ready, weren't prepared until this year.
Okay. Well, I like that they have a plan in place in case things don't seem to be working, so. Council, anybody else have a different opinion or input? If not, I would look for a motion to approve the St. Louis County Agricultural Society Board request for a liquor license and citywide festival to encompass the fairgrounds, July 31st through August 4th.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Marty.
Support.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The second request from the Northern Tracks Club is obviously for street closure for this event. They had to postpone this event for 2 years. They're expecting it to be a little bigger. And it's just in the morning to close down Lake Street for that. I'm the one that actually put the request out for a citywide festival, so we just don't have any issues to okay that. They're a good group. And we want to make sure that they're successful and supported, and I don't see a problem with having this like it has been in the past.
Okay. Council, I'd look for a motion to approve the Northern Tracks request to close Lake Street on May 18th from 9 a.m. to, so it was 9 to 11?
11,
Yep. And to declare a citywide festival.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Jed.
Second.
Thank you, April. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Building official, Mandy.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. On this last Monday, the Planning Commission met and they approved a request from the St. Louis County Fair to move a conditional use permit to move the historic mine view structure from the Hibbing mine view up to the fairgrounds. The Hibbing mine view donated the structure to the fair, and they feel that they could make good use of it up at the fairgrounds. The motion was cast unanimously, so I'm just looking for your support.
All right, Council. I would look for a motion to approve the St. Louis County Fair conditional use permit and to waive the building permit fee request.
Yes,
Yep.
I think we should do that in 2 separate motions.
Okay. All right, so I'd look for a motion to approve the conditional use request.
Make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, April.
Support.
Thank you, Travis. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
So the next request would be for the building permit fees to be waived. The county is requesting that.
Yep. My opinion, council, just like the last one, this is our land that they leased from us, so, you know, I think this is a special consideration that, I would be on board with. So if everybody else is, I would look for a motion to approve the, request to waive the building permit fee.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Marty.
Support.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mandy.
Andy.
City Engineer, Jim.
Would you like me to read this verbatim?
Paid by page.
Good reading material.
It is.
This is part of our application to the Public Facilities Administration through the Minnesota Department of Health for funding, PFA, Public Facilities Administration funding for our 5th Street South project. And as I discussed on page 12, it used to be referred to as the local, emergency, water emergency and conservation plan. It's now become the local water supply plan. Again, we need this. It needs to be updated every 10 years. Last time it was updated was 2007, adopted in 2009. So we're a couple of years delinquent, but we weren't getting any PFA funding during those interim years. So thanks to Larry's assistance, we had this water supply plan put together rather quickly. What we're looking for tonight is your certificate of adoption of that, as you see on page 14, which we can then submit to the Department of Health. As you see in the letter on page 13, the plan was reviewed and approved by the Department of Natural Resources, and the certificate of adoption needs to be then submitted along to the Department of Health and to the Public Facilities Administration to finalize our application packet for funding of our 5th Street project. With that, I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
All right, council, I would look for a motion to adopt the water supply plan revised April 22nd, 2024, and authorize the city administrator to execute the certification of adoption.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
page 83, the personnel list needs to be updated before this is submitted, just like now. It's got Eileen's on there, Gage Lustig. Oh, Gage's name.
Which one, Judd, please?
Oh, it's page 83.
Yes, I've got that. Eileen's is no longer here.
Gage Lustig and Eileen
Oh,
Zahn.
Gage is no longer here, so
Yep.
we'll just remove those two at this point.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor,
Thank you.
yes.
isn't Tiffany also our emergency coordinator?
Emergency management?
Emergency management? Yeah. I think she should be included on the list.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so I look for that motion with the removal of Gage Lustig and Eileen Zah and the addition of Tiffany Larson, the emergency manager.
Make a motion?
Thank you, Jed.
Support.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Good catch, both of you guys. Appreciate that. Any further discussion?
Things change around here real quick. I was thinking there was.
Not too often, Jim. That's very rare. Be careful with your words.
I gotta go back and look because I'm thinking that there was actually a second page to page 83, like the backside of it, the back end.
Don't be too hard, Jim.
Okay, all right.
Marty, you have something else?
Oh, just a question, did we use the PFA for the Lakeview back in 2017, 18?
18.
Okay.
And that old one was still valid at that
Oh,
point.
oh, I see.
10
Okay.
years, because it'd been adopted or approved in 2009, so it was
So
good
within the
through
10-year
2009.
window?
It was within that 10-year window initially, yes.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. If you'll flip back then to page 109 for pay application number 2 on our 5th Street South project. I'll just be very brief with this, but if you'll look on page 109 and 110 in the 4th to the last column and the 3rd to the last column, it really identifies the quantities this pay period, which is really the month of April, and the amount of cost or constructed during that month. So it's easily pulling out exactly what work was done and what that amounts to in terms of cost. And as you'll see on page 110, very near the bottom, in that third to the last column, the work value was $60,865.36 for last month, and then in the last column you see that total of the total work completed to date of $115,865.36. So if you will go back down to page 108, you see the original contract amount of $2,266,700. The work completed is that we just saw in that last column on page 110, which was $115,865.36. To that, we add the stored materials, material that's been brought on site, that's been invoiced to the contractor, but has not yet been installed, manholes, piping, hydrants, those types of things. So we see the invoices on those and pay based on those invoices, but not the bid item prices when it's actually installed. So that brings that total value to $439,044.77. The retainage there of 5%, you see, amounts to $21,952.24. Previous payment of $52,250. So the amount due this pay application is $364,842.53. With that, I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have, but I would recommend approval of pay application number 2 in the amount of $364,842.53.
All right, council, I would look for a motion to approve pay application number 2, and I'm just gonna repeat one more time, $364,842.53.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Marty.
Support.
Thank you, Jed. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. And then if you would turn over to page 115, please, for pay application number 14 for the public safety building. If you go to column G, about the middle of the page, if you add up all those items, which are the labor and materials items for the project for last month, again, that totals $792,040.51. Then we take it times 1 3/4% for the fee for the construction management by Adolphson and Peterson, which matches what you see just below that in the amount of $13,860.71. And so everything totals, just as you see at the bottom of that column, to $805,901.22. And then if you go over to column I, the first of those columns, everything that's within bracket is labor and materials for the project. And those totals within the brackets, as I've written at the bottom of that column below the heavy line, is $7,718,252.49. And that determines a retainage of 5%, which, as you see, and that will be brought forward on the previous page, is $385,912.62. And at the bottom of that column, that includes both labor and materials as well as bonds and other incidental expenses associated with the project. brings the total value of work completed through the end of April to $9,402,202.52. So if you'll please turn back with me to the previous page, 114. Going through it real briefly, again, you see the original contract of $11,199,947. Just as we talked about, the total work completed to date is at $9,402,202.52, which represents 84% right now of that construction cost as bid. Then we subtract the 5% retainage that we talked about of a little over almost $386,000. So the total earned less the retainage is $9,016,289.90, less the previous payments of $8,244,840.70, makes the balance due for this pay application of $771,449.20. I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have, but I would recommend approval of that pay application.
Thank you, Jim. Again, I really like this layout.
Yes.
So, council, I would look for a motion to approve pay application number 14 in the amount of $771,449.20.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Cheyenne.
Second.
Thank you, April. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And thank you, Mayor. If you'll then turn to page 116 and 117, what we have here is the resolution. Just as we did 2 weeks ago, we had similar resolutions for our application packet. In that case, it was for the drinking water, the water main portion of the 5th Street South project, as well as the clean water portion of the sanitary sewer. This particular resolution is in that same format, but it's for the lead service line replacements now. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have. But again, we need this as part of our final submittal package to get our final funding agreement from Public Facilities Administration and the Department of Health.
Okay, thank you, Jim. All right, council, I would look for a motion to approve resolution 0524-42.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Jed.
Support.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Parks, Trails, Rec Director, Bridget, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I got feedback in the community that I wasn't talking loud enough. So that's probably a good idea to adjust it. Thank you. On page 119, there is a resolution to accept donations from Minnesota Discovery Center for the Go Redhead collection in the amount of $1,867.16. I think that is the final donation. It was just checks that came in late or donations that came in late that didn't get sent over with the original one.
Excellent. All right, council, I'd look for a motion to approve resolution 0524-43.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Cheyenne.
I'll second.
Thank you, Marty. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And on page 121, you'll see a quote from CRS, Commercial Recreation Specialist. It's the company that I had been working with, now it feels like for a while, to get the Memorial Park remodel situated. And CRS will be doing the playground surfacing, the install of the equipment, the purchase of the equipment through them. And that is in the amount of $143,094.57. In addition to CRS, I'm asking for approval to enter into contract with Rippinen Construction. That's a local constructor, and we did get a lesser quote from him to do the concrete work, so that's for a concrete playground border, curb, and that is in the amount of $18,000, which is a total cost to the city then on the park of $66,094.57, which is a little bit less than the $75,000 I had requested.
Excellent. Yeah, good work. All right, council, I would look, let's do two separate motions on this one. I'd look for a motion to enter in a contract with CRS for playground equipment and install, the amount of $143,094.57, right?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Thank you, Travis. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And I would look for a motion to enter in a contract with Rippon and Construction, the amount of $18,000.
Make that motion.
Thank you, April.
Support.
Thank you, Jed. Any further discussion? Very happy we already got some local contractors in there, so
Great.
thank you.
Yeah, and that's thanks to Larry Folstead for the local construction. He pulled that off last minute. So thank you.
All right, no further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just one comment, I noticed in here that, just so Larry knows and Bridget knows, they're making the Gopher State One call the city's responsibility. It's usually, I think usually the contractor does that, but.
Yeah, city land this time, yeah.
Okay, but just
So we'll get it done.
to make sure.
Perfect. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Next on, for myself, we've done this for the last 2 years, I think, maybe 3, by suspending the second council meeting in June, July, and August. Again, we have a lot of, construction, a lot of projects that take place over the summer. A lot of time goes into these council meetings, and a lot of that time is better spent by staff actually engaging in active and proactive work. So, also with that being said, anything that does come up, we are able to, schedule any kind of meeting anytime we want. So, I would look for a motion to suspend the council meetings on June 26th, July 24th, and August 28th.
Motion.
Thank you, Travis.
Support.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Lastly here, Councilor Oliva.
Yes, thank you. So I want to thank Billy John Bark Design to kind of give me some recommendation how to name this thing. But anyways, wrapping out, it's in the Lake Street Market, formerly Ironman Market. We're asking permission for the council to declare a citywide festival and use Lake Street between 1st Avenue and 2nd Avenue on the following dates: July 18th, August 22nd, and September 19th. Those are Thursday evenings, between the hours of 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. We had a bunch of vendors last time. Word got around, so it's kind of growing. It's a good thing. The whole goal is to get people to town, sell our community. Just another event what we're trying to do. So I'd ask your guys' support if possible.
Mayor, I would suggest those normal 2 blocks instead of just 1 block, Jed, for traffic.
Okay.
It's usually best from 1st to 3rd. You just said from 1st to 2nd, right?
Yeah, that's 1 block would be good enough, though, I guess.
We could always shrink it down if we need to, if you're not filling it up, but it's easier to shut down and then go, okay, we can open this up.
What happens, Jed, is they come through the intersection and they come down to 2nd Avenue and,
Right.
we don't leave 2nd Avenue over, but we could leave that open too if you want.
But whatever
we
works,
don't want
yeah.
them coming down the street and having to back up.
Right.
So it's easy, right, at keyboard where they could go, oh geez, and then they
Okay.
can get around at least.
Okay, yeah, whatever works.
Okay.
It'll be easier. We'll shrink it down if we have to then, so
Okay.
no problem.
All right, council. I would look for a motion to approve the closure of Lake Street from 1st Avenue to 3rd Avenue on July 18th, August 22nd, September 19th, from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Travis.
Support.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Any further discussion? Besides, I wish you the best of luck. Great. You and Kelly and everyone down there. So, hope it works out.
Thank you.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, everybody.
Miscellaneous. Anybody have anything they would like to bring up? I would look for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion?
Thank you, Jed.
Support.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Good night, everybody.